So yesterday to get our sample, we took one sample, one group, and asked them 2 questions. So the only difference for today is we don't just take one group and ask them 2 questions. We're doing it with separate groups, which means we could also do it. Assignment works the same way. So this is going to be one. Right sheet. While I'm here, I'll go ahead and call out the answers to that homework. I'm just going to call out the chi-square part. I'm not going to talk about it much. I'll post the answer. What was your degrees of freedom for the homework last night? What? I shouldn't hear what you said. 2, because it was a 3 by 2. So 3 minus 1 is 2. 2 minus 1 is 1. Your chi-square value should have been 8.9835, which would give you a p-value of 0.0112. And that is less than alpha, which means we reject. But I just want to make sure y'all got the chi-square part right. I'll post the whole answer key. Questions with anything with that, like briefly? Okay. So with today, it says when to use chi-square. Or when to use. So this one, I don't really care how you pronounce it. I think homogeneity, well, I don't really care. I think biology uses this one specifically is one they refer to. But I don't know that for a fact. All right, so when we can, this is the main part that I've been talking about, is if you don't just sample from one group, you sample from like different ones. So if you separately sample from different populations, so that's like, I want to do some survey for the school, and I want to make sure that the different grade levels are represented. I might sample 50 freshmen, 50 sophomores, 50 juniors, 50 seniors, and then ask each of them one question. My table's still going to be a 2-way table and look the exact same way it did before. It's just how I got my information. So, and this is why I think biology uses this one more often, is when you separately assign different treatments. And this is why I was kind of funny about saying the randomization yesterday. And I just said, I'm just going to write the word random and not write anything beside of it. So if we're doing random assignment of treatments, it becomes chi-square test of homogeneity. The only real thing that changes is our conclusion, or what we're trying to determine. So yesterday it was the 2 variables are independent or they're not independent. Today it's if I made a distribution of them, would those distributions be the same or different for the different groups that I sampled from? So like the responses for freshmen, does that distribution of responses look the same as the distribution of seniors? So our null hypothesis is that there is no difference in the distribution of some categorical variable, because we only have one now, for our specific different treatments or different populations or treatments. Hopefully, I give you a more reason to write. It's supposed to say specific different populations or treatments. Now, Are my blanks for my alternative hypothesis going to be any different? No, because the only thing that's different between null and alternative is no difference and is a difference. So just so I can have an example to kind of talk through here, let's say we're sampling the different grade levels and asking about what kind of lunch they eat. So like school lunch or not school lunch, bring no lunch, or don't eat at school. We would say there's no difference in the distribution of lunch category or lunch eaten for freshmen versus seniors, or for the different high school grade levels. So you're just going to be filling in actual context there. So your conditions don't change. Your do section doesn't change. Will your conclude change? Yes/no. And will it really change much? No, but what will specifically technically change? The population part, kind of, yes, because that gets our conclude right now ends with for population, but what is right before that? Alternative. Is our alternative the exact same? No, it's slightly different. So we're still going to fill in alternative there, but it's just going to be this alternative instead. So let's just go to making the changes on that 4 step. If you write really big and you need to do it on the back, that is fine. If you don't write really big and you want to write it off to the side, that's fine. I don't care how you do it, but I don't think it's worth our time to go through and rewrite another one just to change a couple pieces of it. So in state, we've got all of our stuff over here. We're still going to have a population. So either you just write an arrow over or however you want to do that. Which is still defined in context. What comes right after population? And we just wrote what that's going to be. And I'm just writing this really scratch because this is word for what we just read on the other paper. And then our alternative is the same thing, but saying there is And how does that section always end? So we have that. And I didn't write, this column that I'm doing is
Sampling from different populations, what do we have to define population?
okay, so, and I was surprised nobody said that earlier because y'all were asking about it. The one I was just talking about with the different grade levels and school lunch, I'm still gonna take those different groups. So like, it's the word populations that's kind of weird. So we're basically saying subpopulations within larger population. And I thought about calling them samples instead, but I think it still makes more sense to call them populations. So it's basically like we're defining a big population there, and then our other ones are like subpopulations. So we're still gonna have that. Yeah. So that would just be all students at Gentleman School or whatever. Where's the next place that something is different? Method, which would just instead say test for homogeneity, or Casper test for homogeneity instead. And then the only other thing that's going to change that we talked about is the alternative. I mean, the conclusion where you write alternative. So what I might do, and you can do this however you want to, is I would probably take where I wrote before, and what does this one start with? Something and, what's it say from yesterday? Or not. And I might just take this and do something like, and just show that's my alternative. I'm going to plug in my other alternative now. And if you want to write it all out, that's fine, but that's literally what changes is, hey, write your alternative here. Now it's a different alternative. Do I need to write that better to explain that?
So no matter what, for these, the math is always going to be the same?
Yes. Nothing that you do is going to be any different. Like, I hate to say it, but some people will go through and never know the difference between the two and not get terrible because it's the exact same thing.
What is that on the board right now?
Okay, so this right here in your conclude sentence that you wrote yesterday, when you get to, so we do have convincing evidence of that, starting there, to right before we said for population, was the alternative hypothesis. And so now we're writing this whole exact same paragraph except putting our different alternative hypothesis just right there. So if you want to rewrite the whole thing from yesterday, it's the exact same thing except here is now, so there, what does it start with? Yes, this was the two variables from yesterday. Yeah. They're what? So this is gonna go there now instead of what was there yesterday.
Like, doesn't matter which which one you put first.
No. So yesterday, this doesn't matter, right? Now today is gonna be, there is a difference in the categorical variable. There's only one categorical variable. And it'll say 4 are different populations, and those different populations won't matter what order those are. See if I have them pulled up.
But for yesterday's, it doesn't matter.
Yesterday's does not matter, correct? All right, so I might skip quick with tomorrow's or with our class example. So looking at your notes for today, I'm gonna